Hello everyone, welcome to the Stalwart Initiative. We're back for our third and final installment of the D&D Beyond and Riot Games crossover Legends of Runeterra, Dark Tides of Bilgewater. And this has been a great ride. We are still running the campaign on our Twitch channel. It's a lot of fun. These subclasses are a lot of fun. And let's take a look at our last one. The Rogue subclass, the Wild Card. And I really like this one. I really do. It's a very nice spin and it's fresh from our departure from usually standard D&D stuff. So let's take a look. The Wild Card it's kind of based off of Twisted Fate from Runeterra, from League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra, the video games, and yeah, you get a very Gambit feel for those X-Men fans out there. And let's take a look at the subclass. Some rogues favor honing their skill and precision. Others perfect a silver tongue. But you've always gotten a kick out of leaving things up to chance. Rogues of the wild card variety thrive on the high stakes and random thrill of the game table. Armed with cunning cheats and no small amount of luck, these sly gamblers live and die by their rules, never keen to simply accept the hand fate deals them. So our first feature at level 3 is Tricks Up the Sleeve. Your penchant for games has afforded you the ability to subtly manipulate fortune to your favor. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you learn the Guidance Cantrip, and starting at 9th level, it has a range of 30 feet for you, and you can cast it as a bonus action. This feature right here already has me sold. Having Guidance as a rogue who does a lot of skill checks, you are the skill monkey, as they say. You're able to be called upon for lots of different skill checks. You get a lot of the proficiencies and stuff needed for things. That's what people rely on you for, and now you can give yourself guidance at will as a cantrip. And at 9th level, that's when it really turns it up. So you get to do it at range, so you can give it to other people. I mean, you can already give it to other people, but you don't actually have to be there. Give it to other people at range, and you can do it as a bonus action. And boy, oh boy, you thought rogues had some options for bonus actions. The wild card has a ton of them, and this is the first given. Guidance as a bonus action, so you could essentially do it every turn on top of whatever else you're doing. This is great. Great start. Next up, let's look at the Wild Card's Gambit, and this is the main focus of this subclass. Also at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with one of the following game sets: dice set, dragon chess set, or playing card set. The gaming set you choose grants you a Wild Card's Gambit, as detailed below. If you're proficient in multiple types of gaming sets, you must choose which gambit to use when you gain this feature. You can change your choice of gambit whenever you gain a level in this class. Now this one kind of confuses me a little bit. It says you can change the choice of gambit. Does that mean you already have to have the aforementioned second proficiency, or do you get to change your proficiency, or can you use the gambit for one of the other the proficiencies, the not tool proficiencies, but the other gaming proficiencies, and not actually have it for it? I'm a little confused on that verbiage, but for me, I mean, I would let my player, I'd work it out with the players on what they'd think is fair with them. But let's take a look at the 3 options they give you. So loaded dice, this is based on if you pick dice set as your proficiency. And you gain a pool of d6s equal to the number of d6s you roll for your sneak attack damage. Your pool starts at 2d6 at 3rd level and increases to 3d6 at 5th level, and so on. And considering you get the subclass at 3rd level, it'll already start at 2d6. When a creature targets you with an attack, you can use a reaction to spend 1 die from the pool and subtract the number rolled from the attack. You can choose this feature after the creature makes its roll, but before the DM determines whether the attack roll hits or misses. Starting at 9th level, you can spend up to 2 dice from the pool at once, and starting at 17th level, you can spend up to 3 dice at once. You regain all expended dice from your loaded dice pool when you complete a long rest. So this is saying that when you start at 3rd level, you get 2d6s, and basically this pool you can use per long rest until you run out. So the pool starts out really small, 2d6s, which means you're only getting to use this twice per long rest. So at 3rd level, this doesn't seem that powerful, but boy, does it scale well. Because at 20th level, I mean, you go up to 10d6. So that means you get 10 iterations, and granted, this scales better than this, but at a minimum, 10 iterations of adding a d6 essentially to your AC. You're subtracting it off their attack, but you're essentially adding a d6 to your AC 10 times per long rest. But it scales well not only in the amount of dice that you get, but the amount of dice that you can use to subtract from their attack. 2 dice at 9th level and 3 at 17th. Yeah, this is a defensive wonder for the rogues. This isn't anything crazy. It's not going to do flare and flashy things, but this will help keep you alive. Rogues, for all their upsides, get taken down pretty easy once they get focused. And this is another tool to help you survive longer in combat. Very cool. Loaded dice. Next up, we have Dragon Chess. And you'll get Dragon Chess if you take the Dragon Chess set proficiency. So your prowess of the chessboard has made you a skilled tactician on the battlefield. As a bonus action on your turn, you can execute one of the following chess maneuvers. You can use a bonus action in this way a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once, and regain all uses after a long rest. So already you will more than likely get to use this more at the beginning than you do your loaded dice, but the loaded dice scale better over time as far as how many numbers of uses you get. But let's see what each of these does, because this will scale up your charisma mod, and this particular, much like the swashbuckler rogue, this particular rogue is very fancy towards charisma, and you might want to put a few points into it. So the first option is the dragon. Choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The first time that creature makes a successful attack roll before the start of your next turn, they deal extra damage equal to your level in this class. So this is pretty nice. It is, unfortunately, all these options are bonus actions, so they're not reactive. So you do take a chance. You use your bonus action. You can use it on yourself because it says choose a creature. It doesn't say choose another creature. You can use it on yourself or an ally to give them extra damage, and it's flat damage, so you don't have to worry about getting bad rolls. And it does scale pretty well. It'll start out at 3 and scale up to 20. 20 extra damage, and you can do it multiple times per long rest. That's pretty good. But the best part about Dragon Chess is that it's versatile, so you don't have to just be stuck with this extra damage. So the dragon gives you a decently scalable damage that you can buff yourself or allies with. And the Griffin, I really like the Griffin. The Griffin gives you, it says that your movement speed increases by 10 feet, and your movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. These benefits last until the start of your next turn. It will help you get out of dodge pretty quickly, or just maneuver in the battlefield without taking tons of opportunity attacks. Rogues can get pinned down. Rogues can get... they might want to get in quick and then get out safely. This helps that a lot. And not only increases your movement speed, which allows you to move around farther, but making you immune to opportunity attacks until the start of your next turn. Or I'm sorry. Until the start of your next turn. It's great. It's great. And so you now have 2 good options to choose from, and you can pick when you want to choose them. And this is a little bit easier because you can use your bonus action before you make movement and make that decision, knowing what the outcome's going to be. It's a little bit harder, or a little bit easier than the dragon in that aspect. The only one that I feel might go to waste a few times is the Sylph. You and all friendly creatures within 5 feet of you have advantage on dexterity saving throws until the start of your next turn. This is really, really advantageous for you to use this, especially when you're surrounded by allies. The only thing is you have to use this as a bonus action, so you don't know if anyone's going to have to make dexterity saving throws. And yeah, this could completely go to waste, but hey, it's very useful when it works. And especially if you or your party have already had to make these dex saves due to an ability or a spell that an enemy has, then by all means this is super useful. If you know that's what they're going to repeatedly keep using against you, it's just if you have no knowing, that you're going to need deck saves for what you're going up against, then this could tend to go to waste sometimes. But that's okay. That's okay. At least it's there. At least it's an option. Very cool. Next up, we have playing cards. Really like these playing cards. This is pretty cool. So this is the Twisted Fate thing that it's geared on. You saw his cards up here. These are each kind of focusing on his different cards from his pick a card ability in League of Legends. So for the playing cards, we have you have developed a fighting style based around the cartomancy of the Serpent Isles. You have your own deck of enchanted cards and can make their edges razor sharp with a flick of the wrist. If you have not yet used your sneak attack this turn, you can use your action to take one of these cards and attack a creature within 30 feet with it. The attack roll for this feature uses your dexterity modifier, and on a hit, it deals slashing damage equal to 1d4 plus your dexterity modifier. When you roll for damage, look at the number rolled on the d4. The attack gains a random effect based on the number rolled, as detailed in the wildcard suit table below. And you can attack using a card in this manner a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once, and regain all uses after a long rest. This is a little confusing to me, not much, just a little bit, that you can use this attack in this manner a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Does that mean that you can only use razor sharp cards, you can only turn them razor sharp and do razor sharp card attacks a number of turns, or a number of times equal to that, or you can only use with the effect that number of times? A little confusing. They don't say how many cards are in the deck, and whether this whole action causes them to be razor sharp, or if they are razor sharp to begin with, and you can use the deck as though you were throwing arrows out of a quiver. This is doing, I'd say this is better than using a dagger. Daggers do your piercing damage, which slashing damage is tends to be less. Things tend to be less resistant to slashing than piercing, and also it gives you a range of 30 feet. And daggers, if I'm not mistaken, are a close range of 20 feet and a far range of 60 feet, which means anything beyond 20 feet, you have disadvantage on the attack roll up to 60 feet. So you lose some of the maximum range, but your minimum range is raised up, and you kind of meet in the middle with a flat 30-foot reach on this. I like it, and I would allow my player to use a whole deck of razor sharp cards. I think it's cool. Let's take a look at the wild suit table and see what these functions are. So when you roll your damage, depending on what you rolled on the d4, an effect will happen. So if you rolled a 1, you pull the blade card and roll your sneak attack damage and add it to your razor card's damage. At the start of its next turn, the target takes additional damage equal to half the sneak attack damage rolled. So this is cool. This gives the card your sneak attack damage, and it also gives it another half of your sneak attack damage the next turn, so a bleed effect. It gives a very cool bleed effect, and this scales really well. Higher levels, that's 5d6 in the turn after as bleed damage. Very cool. Very powerful. Next up, if you roll a 2, you get the Shackle. Until the start of your next turn, the target's speed is halved. It can't make more than one attack on its turn, while its speed is reduced in this way. Wow, this could be really useful. This could be very useful. So their speed is halved. If they're trying to get away, if they're trying to get around the battlefield, this could save some butts. And the fact that if it has multi-attack with 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 attacks on its turn, this will crush those creatures that are relying on that multi-attack. Very cool. Very cool. The Shackle. Very powerful. Not always. You won't always find the use for this, especially in lower levels when a lot of creatures don't have multi-attack. But in the farther you go, I think the more mileage you get out of this card. So if you roll 3 on the d4, you get Heart. Roll your sneak attack damage and add it to your razor card's damage. You also immediately regain a number of hit points equal to the half the damage. Okay, we'll say half the damage dealt. Any excess hit points regains. I think it's supposed to be regained. Any excess hit points regained become temporary hit points. This is fantastic. You can heal as a rogue. Hallelujah. So you not only heal as a rogue, but the excess isn't wasted. You gain it as temp hit points. They don't stack, but they're awesome, and the Heart is great. So all 3 of these have their purpose, and they're all three great. But let's look at the fourth one. The fourth one is the Wild Ace. This card morphs suits depending on the dealer's wishes. Choose Blade, Shackle, or Heart. The card then immediately gains the suit's respective effect. So this lets you choose. So essentially you have a 50% chance to get whatever card you want, because you have the 1 in 3 chance of getting it naturally, or if you roll a 4 on your damage, you get to choose. Yeah. You get to choose which one you want anyway. So you have a 50% chance of getting exactly what you want. They're all three beneficial. I like it. Ooh, it's yeah, playing cards are probably the way I would go, just because it seems fun and very useful. So at 9th level, and I think 9th level is where this subclass really kicks it into gear. One, because up here, as we saw earlier, with Tricks Up the Sleeve, at 9th level, your guidance cantrip goes up to 30 feet, and you can do it as a bonus action, and you also get the feature Shifting the Odds. Starting at 9th level, you are acutely aware of how to quit when you're ahead, vanishing in a flash when the odds begin to turn against you. As a bonus action, you can disappear with a dramatic flourish. Each creature within 10 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw, DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma mod, taking 4d10 force damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. You then teleport yourself to an unoccupied space that you can see within 120 feet of your original location. Once you've used this ability, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. This is very cool. And it is this is very mobile, much like the Barbarian earlier. This is very mobile. So you get a super enhanced Misty Step that also does 40-10 force damage, or half of that, at a minimum half of that force damage when you leave to those around you. This is really cool. This is to emulate Twisted Fate's ultimate ability in the video game, where he teleports. Now, he doesn't do damage in that one, but hey, I'm all for it. That is awesome. 40-10 force damage, nothing to sneeze at. It is force damage as well. Most things aren't resistant to it. Very cool. Let's look at the 13th level ability, the Twist of Fate. At 13th level, your mastery over the game table hones your speed and cunning in combat. After rolling initiative, but before the first turn of combat, you can choose to swap places in the initiative order with one creature you can see. If the creature is one of your allies, that creature must agree to swapping initiative with you. This is very cool and an interesting feature. Letting you switch initiative could change the whole flow of combat. I did talk to a couple people about this, and they, at least one person was kind of leery about this, because some DMs choose not to let the party know where they are in initiative, and let them know the final order of initiative until combat starts. That way you don't know exactly when enemies are going to go. I'm okay with that. Normally I let the players see the combat order, but yeah. So in that kind of case, it would be a little wonky. But I do like the feature. They can, they could change the flow of combat dramatically, from the big bad going first and the big bad going last or third or fourth. This could be a very, very useful ability. Very cool. So our capstone for this is the Joker Wild. At 17th level, your mastery over chance encompasses even your own form, allowing you to exist between potential realities. As a bonus action on your turn, you can take on an incorporeal form, during which you gain the following benefits. And for those of you confused on how this kind of fits with this subclass, I think they're taking it from Twisted Fate's Skin, Underworld Twisted Fate. That is a badass looking art right there. See, he still has the cards up, but they are now also ethereal. Very cool artwork. Riot Games, they have awesome artwork too. So awesome. So you regain expended power for your Wild Cards Gambit feature. So for the cards, you regain all spent uses of that feature. For the Dragon Chest, you regain all spent uses of that feature. And for the dice, you regain all spent dice. This is, wow, already this ability, when you pop this off as a bonus action, you're already regaining all of that. You could have used 10d6 worth of dice, and you regain all of it back. So this is good to use every long rest. You should be using this every time you run out. It's good. Maybe not necessarily right when you run out because you want to save it for a clutch moment, but you know that it's there in your back pocket, ready to fill up all of your resources. Your movement speed is also doubled. Wow, that's good. So you're not only recharge all of your abilities, you get to move around the battlefield ethereal like, and your speed is doubled, and so pretty much nothing's, I shouldn't say nothing, but most things aren't going to get away from you, and you can get away from most things because, as you can see through down here, we can move through objects and stuff. But why don't we get to that? So next up is you gain resistance to all damage. Very cool. Very cool. Don't have to use your evasion for that. And you are immune to the grappled, paralyzed, stunned, and restrained conditions. Wow, that's awesome. So nobody can really lock you down. Nobody can stun you or paralyze you. That's very powerful. And also, you can move through objects and creatures as if they were difficult terrain. And this is a cool change and pace here. This part right here. If you end your turn inside a creature, the creature takes 1d10 force damage and is shunted into an adjacent space within 5 feet of their original location. Normally, when you get like ethereal step kind of things like this, where you can move through objects and creatures, when you end yourself inside a creature or an object, it usually shunts you out and deals you damage. This one says if you do it inside of a creature, it's going to deal the creature damage. Very cool. This incorporeal state lasts for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest. This is, I don't know, I like this capstone. It lasts a minute. It gives you a ton of benefits, and it refills all of your expended Wildcard's Gambit feature. This is, yeah, I don't know, but what do you think? I really like this subclass. I would love to see more like this. Whoever designed these 3 subclasses for this material, I think has done a great job. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the last one in these subclasses for the Dark Tides of Bilgewater material. And yeah, if we are streaming this mini campaign that is offered with the material here on Twitch. So if you want to check out some examples of this, swing on by our Twitch community, and yeah, join our Discord if you want to hop into some one-shots sometime. All the links for that stuff is down below. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Look forward to checking out your comments, and I'll see everyone next time. Remember, unity is strength, so stand together and be safe, and we'll see everyone next time.